say that falling in love is wonderful.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another comic book review. Today we're going to be taking a look at The Amazing Mary Jane, Volume 1, Down in Flames, Up in Smoke. This one is written by Leah Williams with art by Carlos Gomez. The plot of this story begins with Mary Jane reviving her career as an actress. She's off in Hollywood filming a Mysterio biopic, which she describes to Peter as the Breaking Bad of superhero movies, in that it's supposed to show events from the villain's perspective and be a tragedy of sorts. MJ is excited by this opportunity because the film is being directed by Hollywood darling Cage McKnight, and thinks that the film may attract Oscar buzz. Everything seems to be going normally, until MJ discovers that Cage McKnight is actually Quentin Beck, Mysterio himself, in disguise. Mysterio tells MJ that he doesn't know how much longer he has left, and that he wants to do something important with his life. Mary Jane genuinely feels for Beck, agrees to help him however she can to get this movie made, and maybe help him reform as a person in the process. First of all, I would like to give the biggest thank you to the writer of this series, Leah Williams, because I absolutely loved this story. Mary Jane is one of my favorite characters in all of comics. I love Mary Jane because I think she's one of the most realistic of all the various love interests in the superhero genre. Mary Jane grew up with an alcoholic and abusive father, which, as it would for people in real life, caused her to have a lot of insecurity issues that initially hindered her relationship with Peter Parker. However, the thing I love about her is that despite the tragedy that she experienced in her past, MJ is able to see the good in people and helps bring out the best in them. Mary Jane is one of the main reasons why Peter was able to come out of the pit of misery and despair that he found himself in after the death of Gwen Stacy. If Mary Jane hadn't stayed to console Peter the night that Gwen died, despite him lashing out at her in anger in Amazing Spider-Man 122, who knows where Peter would be in his life currently. Mary Jane is a redeemer, and Williams seems to really understand this. The story is primarily focused on character development, which is one of the things I loved about it. Mysterio is the secondary protagonist of this book, and he's on a redemption arc that could not be completed without Mary Jane. Mysterio is, of course, one of Spider-Man's oldest villains. He's a former Hollywood special effects and stuntman that dreamed of becoming a Hollywood star as an actor. After his attempts to hit the big time failed miserably, Quentin Beck realizes that the revolutionary illusion technology he created as a special effects man could help him become a masked criminal. Thus, Mysterio was born. Here, we see Mysterio impersonating a major Hollywood director because he's going through somewhat of a midlife crisis. He's realized that the life of crime he took up after his dreams of becoming a Hollywood star were crushed hasn't really created anything of note. Mysterio is still definitely vain. He's an egomaniac here who ends up writing, directing, and starring in a film about himself so that the legacy of Quentin Beck can live on after his death. But there's a grain of relatability in what his goal in the story is. Everybody, I think, wants to leave some sort of legacy, whether it be their children, body of work, a business, etc., that will live on after they're gone. People want to be remembered. Mysterio, as a disgruntled reject of the Hollywood machine, wanting his magnum opus to be a film about his life makes complete sense. It's entirely consistent with his character. Mary Jane is initially hesitant to participate in Mysterio's scheme to make the movie after learning he's impersonating Hollywood hotshot director Cage McKnight. However, once she learns that Mysterio didn't kidnap or harm the real McKnight, he's just in the Falkland Islands casting a penguin for his upcoming Jaws of Penguins project, which will take at least a year apparently, and discovers that Mysterio is just as passionate about art and the craft of movie making as she is, MJ agrees to do everything she can to get the movie made and make something great out of it. Mary Jane finds a kindred spirit in Mysterio because she's someone that's experienced what it's like to not have her talent recognized by the Hollywood system firsthand. In prior stories, we've seen Mary Jane struggle to establish herself as an actress, and in this arc, a member of the production staff remarks that the only reason MJ was cast in the movie is because of her looks. This project gives Mary Jane the opportunity to prove all of her naysayers wrong and show just how talented she really is. While Mysterio plays the role of the eccentric artist who's constantly waxing about the merits of true art, MJ is the more practical of the pair. She assists Mysterio by securing financial backing for the production after Mysterio's poor management of the project causes them to lose funding. She also suggests script rewrites that elevate the film above the vanity project for Mysterio that it initially was. Mary Jane's contributions to the project are so crucial and numerous that Mysterio comes to view MJ as a close friend and gives her a producer credit on the film. For example, Mysterio sticks up for Mary Jane in a scene where the actor playing Spider-Man loses faith in the project, starts yelling at MJ, tells her she needs to learn when to give up, and tries to walk off set. Mysterio does this because Mary Jane is really the only person Beck has ever met in his entire life that has seen the good in him, recognized his talent, and pushed him to be a better person. There's another great scene where Mary Jane and Mysterio have a financing meeting with a backer that doesn't go well. Mysterio is at his wit's end because he feels like he's being shut out of the Hollywood game again, just like he has been for his entire life. He thinks nobody will ever recognize his artistic talent. He thinks he's going to go to the grave feeling like he's made no positive contribution to the world. Mary Jane talks him down, and the pair is able to secure funding for the film at the next meeting they go to. By the end of the story, Mary Jane and Mysterio's combined efforts have resulted in a film that looks like it's going to make Mary Jane a big star and give Mysterio the recognition he's always wanted. Mysterio's bitterness about being rejected by Hollywood has completely faded by the end because Mary Jane saw a kindred spirit in him and did everything she could to help him. It remains to be seen if Mysterio will even remain a supervillain after this story, because his motivation for becoming one in the first place no longer exists. I realize that this is comic books and Mysterio will likely circle back to being a villain in some capacity somewhere, someday, but this story develops Mysterio into a much better person than he was at the beginning of the story, and I absolutely loved that. I also really liked the way Williams wrote Peter and Mary Jane's relationship in this story. Peter and MJ are doing the long-distance relationship thing temporarily because Mary Jane is in Los Angeles making this movie. And the moments she writes where MJ and Peter have video calls, talk on the phone, or text each other are just adorable. I think my favorite moment is when Peter is in a grocery store and MJ hears one of their favorite songs come on the radio in the background. She asks Peter to put her on speaker so that they can dance to the music together. It's super dorky, adorable, and real. These two work so well as a couple because neither of them are afraid to show their true selves to each other and have a myriad of inside jokes which appear slightly crazy to onlookers who aren't in on them. The tone of this story is light and fun. There's a lot of comedy to be had here, which really works, and I think it fits all of the characters involved. Mary Jane is a fun-loving kind of woman, and Mysterio has always been an over-the-top theatrical villain. Pairing these two together was bound to result in some funny moments, and I think Williams knocks it out of the park in this regard. Mysterio's commitment to his craft as an artist can get really over the top at times, but it serves as a great parody of the kooky personalities that work in the movie business, and he has some of the best comedic moments in the entire story. Overall, I can't say enough good things about Williams' writing here. She really gets why Mary Jane is a great character in that MJ's always willing to lend a hand to people who really deserve it. She's a good judge of character, does everything she can to help other people, and brings out the best in everyone she's around. Mary Jane gets to prove just how talented she is, and even uses her wits to outsmart the Savage Six towards the end of the story. I couldn't have asked for a better characterization of Mary Jane. This book is a clinic in showing off why MJ is the best woman in comics, at least in my opinion. Williams' pairing of Mysterio and Mary Jane as kindred spirits is a stroke of genius, in my opinion, and the development that he gets throughout this story makes this one a great read even for Spider-Man fans who may not otherwise have been inclined to read a solo Mary Jane title. The art in this book is also stellar. Carlos Gomez is not an artist I've read anything from before, as far as I'm aware. However, I think he's going to become a big star if he continues to produce work of this quality in the future. He has a very clean and classic style, which is perfect for a character like Mary Jane, who was visually conceived by John Romita Sr. Since Mary Jane isn't a character with superpowers, most of this story is dialogue and character-driven. There isn't a ton of action for Gomez to lean on in terms of keeping the pace of the story going and keeping the reader engaged. Gomez does a bang-up job despite this, however. His characters are extremely expressive, and every page pops because of how great his style is. I really hope that for however long this book goes on for, Gomez sticks around to, at the very least, rotate with another artist on this book, because his dramatic work in this story is just pitch perfect. All in all, I would highly recommend The Amazing Mary Jane Volume 1, Up in Flames, Down in Smoke. If you love Mary Jane or Mysterio, I would highly recommend this one. It's a wonderful exploration of both these characters in a more dramatic, less action-driven setting than we're used to in Spider-Man's titles, and I found that to be very refreshing. Williams knows exactly what makes both of her protagonists in this story great characters, and pushes their development forward in a fun story all about poking fun at the absurdities of the Hollywood system. This book is way better than it had any right to be, and I think we have the makings of one of the best Spider-Man spin-off books ever if it continues at this level of quality. I think Leah Williams and Carlos Gomez did a wonderful job here, and I will be checking out both their past and future works because of how much I enjoyed this one. All right, so if you've read The Amazing Mary Jane, Volume 1, Down in Flames, Up in Smoke, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. If you haven't gotten a chance to read this one yet, please let me know what you thought of this review in the comments below. The feedback really helps me improve my videos. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, as always, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.